Hey guys, Tim Melvin here, and welcome to just kind of a review of the world flagship report style. It's the 23rd of July, 2026. Markets are off over 1% as everybody seems to have woken up to the fact that the war in Iran is not going away anytime soon. Brent crude, anyway, is back over $100 a barrel. I think we're a little 93 and change on West Texas crude. There's really no practical end in sight there at the moment. Um, there's also a lot of questions about, hey, where is the return on all this AI capital being invested going to come from? And that's a fantastic question. And we don't really have the answer just yet. Um, Somebody said this morning that it reminds them of fiber optic cable back in the 90s, and that's not bad because a lot of fiber optic cable got laid, and a lot of the people that put it down in the ground, and put the dark cable in, they went bankrupt, and they were ended up being bought out by the survivors for pennies on the dollar. I don't know that AI is exactly that, but it is questionable if they can get the return on capital that's going to justify the trillions of dollars that need to be invested to stay ahead of this thing. It's going to be interesting to watch. Now, here's what we don't do at Flagship Report. Flagship Report. Worry about anything that I just said because none of it really matters when it comes to the markets. Now, if you are subscribing to a financial newsletter service, I'm going to assume that you're doing it to make money. Now, some of you like to do it because you love to trade and you want to make the bets. You want to trade those one day at a time options. And yeah, I can't help you. Okay. We don't, because that's not even speculation, right? Most of what's going on in that is just gambling. And then, so if you're here to make money, then I can help you. All right. So let's talk about that. I get the emails. I see the same ones that you do, right? They come in all the time. I've got this great idea, this great system, this thing that has occurred to me out of the blue, and I've used it to buy Lamborghinis and giant houses and big yachts. And all my best friends are gazillionaires. And I'm going to share this wonderful market beating strategy with you for just $1,978, 60% off today, only 1,700 and change. Whatever the offer is, it's usually a pretty high price. So because it's exclusive, right? You need to have this. And then there's the other one. Now, by the way, if said genius gets a new idea or develops a new system, it's a new promo and a new price. Maybe they'll bundle it all together and try to get you up for like 10 grand. You can have everything that we do. We don't do any of that at Flagship Report. I've been doing this for 30 some years. And yes, I got a lot of smart people in my Rolodex, and we talk all the time. And there's as many academics as there are practitioners. There's some really rich folks in there that I talk to all the time, but we're not going to brag about that. We're not going to talk about that. So we do a lot of systems development around here, and that's the royal we. Because I mean, the two dogs and the cats have left, but that's pretty much the staff. So it's me in here talking to people, getting ideas, crunching numbers, testing things, bringing you what works, right? And we test a lot of stuff. And if it works, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a novel approach. Now, Flagship Report as it sits, we've got the four portfolios using strategies that we know work for real estate, for small cap deep value stocks, for small cap fundamental momentum stocks, and for small cap, I mean, not small cap, for alternative fixed income, which might be my favorite portfolio right now because it's all of the instruments have upside. They're going to do ridiculously well if and when we ever get interest rate cuts. And oh, by the way, you're collecting 10.25%. I'll take that. Our REIT portfolio, after lagging all of last year, is now screaming higher. So we're pretty excited about the real estate investment trust portfolio because we think we're in the maybe the top of the second when it comes to commercial real estate recovery. This thing's going to last a long time. We're already collecting over 6% dividends, and there's going to be great dividend growth in that portfolio. So we're excited about that one. All that's in the price, and I think we're charging $350. It's somewhere right around there. It's not real high. But we test a lot of ideas. And if they work, I share them with you. Like a few weeks ago, we ran across an idea that not developed here. Okay. But a guy that I've known for a long time, whose research I follow, put up an idea for biotech stocks. And I read it and I looked it over and I said, this is pretty exciting because biotech is the hardest thing to figure out. If you don't have an MD and a PhD, just to even read the reports on these things can be extremely difficult. Now, my friend is a dedicated quantitative guy, and he's got an amazing staff of people, brilliant folks. So they put some stuff together on biotech because they're also not doctors. So which cancer drug is going to work? Which Alzheimer's drug? I mean, how rich are we all going to get on the Alzheimer's drug that works, right? So there's all these drugs being tested in trials, and it's like shooting craps basically. And the odds are definitely in the house's favor. So he found some things that kind of isolate what works in biotech. How do we identify the stocks? Not with guaranteed returns, or it's not a $2 stock guaranteed to make you rich by next Tuesday. It's none of that. It puts the odds in your favor. It increases the probability of success, right? And if we can have success, we can avoid the crashes, we can hit some singles, some doubles, some triples, and sooner or later along just might come that grand slam. But we got to stay in the game and we got to make money. It's got a way that works. So I thought, well, all right, this is groundbreaking. This is big news. So we're going to get this out there to folks. We're going to give it to our subscribers. So how do we do this? Do we charge do we charge a bunch of thousands of dollars because the information's worth it, clearly? Do we start a new product and something? No. We just wrote it up and said, here it is. And we're going to track stocks that meet these criteria. And as new ones pop up, we're going to give it to you. Here's the first 5 or 6. And they're all already, they're doing okay. But they've got certain parameters, and we just go boop, 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 right down the checklist like we do with everything else, and we gave it to you. So we were crunching ideas and numbers, and somebody said, hey, if you combine these two factors, you get a list of what we call dirty value, right? Companies that are deeply undervalued, that the world hates, but can be bought at a discount to the value of the assets. You could probably liquidate the business and walk away, but they're generating a lot of cash flow and nobody's paying attention. Again, and by the way, I back tested this and the returns are like, really good. Really volatile, but really good. You do have to have a strong stomach. So we tested that, and again, it works really well. So what do we do with that? Do we package it up, make a new newsletter, sell it to people for thousands of dollars? Nah, we wrote it up. We put the list of the stocks that currently qualify. We just kind of put it out there. Look, this stuff works. You got to have a strong stomach. Here's the characteristics, but it does work. We've got some other research that we're going to be sharing in the not too distant future that have to do with things like, total shareholder yield, stocks trading at steep discounts to liquidation value. There's some cool stuff going on in the preferred stock world right now. We see all kinds of things. There's stuff going on in fundamental momentum that we're testing. If it works, we're going to share it with you. No charge. We're just going to say, hey, this works. It makes money. It makes more money than the indexes. It's for patient aggressive investors that are in this to make money. So we're just going to share it with you, and we'll answer any questions that you have about it. We're going to start doing some Q&A sessions so we can do exactly that. But we've got the 4 core strategies, but it's like the biotech strategy, right? This could make you an enormous amount of money. Why would I not tell you about that? You've already trusted me with your hard-earned dollars to get some good investment advice based on everything that I've learned. Okay, so if I learn more, then I'm supposed to give that to you, not sell it to you extra. Now, we're going to hear a lot of things. And look, I read academic papers like other people read spy novels, although to be fair, I read a lot of spy novels too. We read them, we crunch them, we analyze them. What we don't understand, we are not afraid to pick up the phone and try to get the author on the phone or somebody else that's an expert in the field and talk to them and say, what did you mean by this? How exactly did you structure that? And then we put it to the test. And we've got in-house methods for crunching the numbers, We've gotten so much better than the early days when I used to try to do this with a legal pad and a calculator and Excel, and it was awful, and bad words were said, and things got broken. We've got a better system than that now. But a lot of these are going to be garbage. They're not going to work. Academia in particular suffers from the publisher perish. So you get a lot of papers that they look good, they sound good, they read good, they don't test good at all. And you know where those go? They go on the floor. They're garbage. Now, there's a lot of things that we see being marketed that we know are garbage, right? There's stuff that we tested, these secret double magic formulas for trading and this, that, and the other, and these option schemes. We know they're garbage. We don't bring those to you. I'll never bring those to you. If I've got something that sounds good and it's really great story and I know I can sell a lot of it, but it doesn't test, it's going where garbage belongs, on the floor. And then eventually my wife will yell at me to pick the stuff up off the floor. It'll go out to the trash can and hit the curb. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to give you get rich trading schemes. We're not going to come at you and promise that, we've got a system that is just going to deliver you a 90% win rates with an average return of 100%, because that doesn't exist in the markets. It just doesn't. That's marketing, not markets. We do light marketing. We're like, hey, we got this really great stuff. We're going to give you a price. We think we can make you some money. We're going to do that. Okay. But we're going to give you a great price. We're not going to upsell for anything new. We run a couple services. We run the Flagship Report. We have the Community Bank Investor. All right. We have what I think are really reasonable prices for both of them. You can buy them both combined, right, for under $1,000 for both. Both of them work. Both of them have made money for readers, subscribers, and myself for decades. Okay. We've made a lot of money for a lot of people on this journey. And I'm proud to say we've never sold garbage. And look, I've had people in the business tell me this is a terrible business. We got to sell stuff that we know doesn't really work, but it's easy to sell. And when you go to the marketing meetings, they're not talking about what works, what's going to make our people money. They're talking about what can we sell this week. No thanks. I have to look in the mirror. I don't want to look in the mirror and realize that I sold a bunch of stuff to a bunch of people that trusted me that doesn't work. I'm not interested in that. I want to have 100% renewal rate. I want you to be so blown away by the service that we give you, by the ideas that we give you, by the consistency of effort, and by the profits that we help you to earn, that you renew year after year after year, and you tell your friends about us. That's the kind of business we're trying to build here at Flagship Report. That's why with both Community Bank Investor and Flagship Report, we got away from the traditional publishing business. I have no interest. Yeah, can you do options on that? No, we're not doing that. And look, we'll have some option stuff for you. I'm just going to tell you, we will from time to time. But it's not going to be let's trade options and schemes and directions and all. I know some guys got really rich from optional trading schemes. They were market makers at the CBOE, and they just hoovered up all the cash from all the people trying to get these magic systems to work for them. Look, 90% of all retail traders lose money over time. It's higher than that, higher and quicker for options traders. So we're going to give you stuff that we know is work. And look, there's some things you can do, like selling cash secured puts to back into an undervalued stock. That works. Selling calls when stocks have appreciated and volatility is much higher and you can collect some cash and get paid to exit at a profit. That works pretty good too. We can add some points onto both ends of the transaction and add that to our overall total return using options. I can't make you an income trading options, right? You can't replace your salary selling options, because sooner or later, and it's the old thing that 90% of the time, if you sell options just below the floor of the market, 5%, going out, you're going to make money most of the time. You will. Then along comes that 10%, and you're out the door. There is a strategy out there that does the inverse. They buy put options 5% below the market every month. And most months they lose money. And then every once in a while they get the big boom and they make a ton of cash. But you got to be willing to lose money, many months in a row. And most option selling strategies, again, you make money, and then it goes boom. And that's if you're doing the indexes. For the guys that do it on stocks and they trade options based on how much premium can we get, they lose money a lot faster. So we're bringing you none of that. If it's garbage and it doesn't work and it doesn't test, you don't get it here at Flagship Report. Um, if it works, we're going to give it to you. We've got the 4 core, right? And we may add to the core over time. I'm not sure. Don't want to predict on that. We've got this. We know it works, and you can fit your life cycle using these 4 portfolios based on where you are in life. I mean, if you're really aggressive, you're looking to pile up money fast, you want to be in deep value, small cap deep value, and small cap fundamental momentum. So that you want to be focused there. If you're looking for longer term total returns, you want to be in real REITs, and you want to be in um, small cap deep value. That's going to give you long-term total returns. You can add the momentum, a third and a third and a third if you want to. If you're getting older and you're starting to worry about return of capital, but you still don't want to give up potential for growth and growth of income, you're doing 50% alternative income and 50% REITs. I mean, you can kind of mix and move those around based on where you are in your life cycle. But there's other stuff out there that works. And when I see it, I'm going to tell you about it. And if it's worth monitoring, we're going to monitor it, like the biotech, like the dirty value portfolio. So we'll keep bringing ideas, and if I have ideas, I'm going to bring them to you. If I see a special situation, like, hey, you know what, this thing, if this works, the upside's huge. Right now, if it doesn't work, maybe it doesn't do much at all. Maybe it even goes to zero, but maybe it's 100x. Every once in a blue moon, I'll see one of those. I'm not going to package it up and try to make it into a new product. Okay, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to write up the idea. I'm going to give it to you. We will see a lot of stuff in fixed income that doesn't fit into the regular portfolio, but there's some quirks and twists and potentials and possibilities for this thing that could offer some significant upside. I'm just gonna write it up as a special situation and just give it to you. That's how I prefer to do things. So we've got the 4 core, they'll always be there. But if we see new stuff and we see new ideas, we're going to give them to you. And we're not going to come to you and say, you must act by August 3rd, 2026, or this opportunity could go away. Because that's not markets, that's marketing, and we don't do that. All right. So that's kind of where we are in the world. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we do know that we've got a lot of research that went into our credit spread dashboard. And if we track our credit spreads and we pay attention to market trends, we don't even need to know the news, right? We just need to know what's happening in the credit markets and what's happening to price trends. And we can just turn the TV off. We can stop reading the newspaper and we can just ignore all of that, because everything in the world shows up in credit, value, and trend. The more of those that you get right, and throw momentum in there as well, especially fundamental momentum. If you get 1 right, you do well. If you get 2 right, yeah, you're doing really well. 3, monstrously right. If you ever get 4 right, that's just a home run situation waiting to happen. So if you can focus on those 4 things, you can ignore the noise, the garbage, the just absolute, I don't know any other word but crap that the marketers and the internet and even Wall Street throw at you all the time. You focus on what we know works, what cannot be arbitraged away, what cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. And you constantly test everything that you hear. And you don't just go for the story. You don't go for the flash. You just sit down, you line it out, you crunch the numbers. If it works, I'll give it to you. If it doesn't, it's going in the garbage, because that's where it belongs. So that's our view today at Flagship Report. It's going to be our day tomorrow. It was our day yesterday. That's why we get lots of emails all the time going, "Hey, Tim, I know you left that publisher and I was mad at you for leaving, but I understand why now. And I've tracked you down and I'm back because you've consistently made me money." That's really, really important to me. If I meet you out in public, I don't want you saying, going, "There's the dip that lost me a lot of money on his newsletter recommendations and then wouldn't answer my emails." I don't want that. You know, I go to mass every Sunday. I don't want to walk in there and face people who subscribe to my newsletter services and have to face them in church or in a local restaurant. I don't, no, thank you. We'll do this the right way. We'll do it the way that I've learned over 35 plus years. We'll stand on the shoulders of giants and we'll, build on the work of people that came for us. If it works, you get it. No bump up in price. That's a promise. Everything that we find that works, you get, along with the four core. You're never going to look over and say, "Tim Melvin's got a new special situations product and you can sign up for only $47 gazillion, but you got to act by August 3rd, 2026 because the opportunity is going away." That's never going to happen as long as we're traveling down this road together. So 2 products, Community Bank Investor. Well, technically 3 because we do a bank and credit report kind of little thing on Substack as well. But 2 major newsletters, Community Bank Investor, the Flagship Report that has the 4 portfolios, plus everything that we ever do will be dumped in there. If it's bank related and it's like a preferred stock or special situation, gets dumped in there at no extra charge. So, and if you subscribe to both of those, Emma would just give you a Flagship Report because it's just kind of a little thing we do dealing with mortgage REITs and BDCs and some other stuff. Most of that, however, is reflected in the alternative income report that is, included in Flagship Report. So that's kind of where we are. That's what we do. That's my philosophy. If it works and it can make you money, I'm going to give it to you. If it's garbage, I'm going to put it where it belongs. All right. And I will never develop new products and try to sell something else besides this or upsell you to something else because 2 products, Community Investor, Flagship Report. That's it. Thanks, guys. Have a fantastic week. And we will talk to you again real soon. We just did the fixed income report this week. We will be doing the REIT portfolio next Monday. So, you know what? I hope I see you on the inside so we can make some money together. Thanks, everyone.